Hey, good morning. It's Mark Weiss. I want to talk with you today about the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea and how the technique of the pink phone can be used to rescue you, your medical group, especially if you're a hospital-based medical group, from the real risk of an RFP being issued for your services. I read a very interesting story about the pink phone that sits in UN force headquarters at the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. It's a phone that links UN forces staffed by, as I recall, 5 or 6 U.S. servicemen and one from, as I recall, Australia, maybe it was New Zealand. Their task is to man the phone and keep up some small amount of a communication link between North and South Korea in order to sort of tone down tension. In other words, if people are talking, at least they're not fighting, or so the hope goes. So for years, this phone sat there and was used at periods, but from 2013 to 2018, every day from the South Korean side, the officer in charge or one of his assistants would place a call on this phone 125 feet across the border to the North Korean soldiers also manning the demilitarized zone, but it wasn't answered. And then all of a sudden, after 5 years of silence, it rings back. And now, so the story goes, which was recounted in the Wall Street Journal recently, every day there is some communication. Now maybe that communication is that there is nothing to report, but as things have warmed up in the relationship between those soldiers on one side and the other, they've begun talking about things like baseball and whiskey, more of a person-to-person communication. So what's this have to do with you? Well, I was thinking that in many cases there's probably only 125 feet or maybe a little bit more, don't discount me on that, between the office of, say, a radiology group department, a contracted department, or an anesthesia group department, emergency group department, and the C-suite of the hospital. But how much communication, regular communication, in the pink phone story, it's daily, or at least a daily attempt at communication. How much attempt at communication are you making? Is it simply when there's a problem? Or is the communication flowing one way? Is it that the phone is only ringing because administration is contacting you because there's some problem? What I'm getting at is this, is that one of the reasons that hospital-based groups lose their contracts is there is no regular communication, no development of a one-on-one relationship between the contracted group and the C-suite, the administrator, the chief operating officer, whoever the primary contacts are. And what I'm suggesting is there should be regular communication, regular scheduled communication. It might even be weekly, it might be every other week, but it certainly should be more often than simply monthly. The purpose of this is to find out what the C-suite is looking for. What problems might exist? What things would they like you to do? And the purpose is also for you to, in essence, blow your own horn, to remind the C-suite what you're doing proactively or even reactively to improve services, to resolve problems, to create new programs, to bring new value to the relationship. It's not impossible for someone to terminate a relationship where there has been even daily communication, but it makes it harder. I'm suggesting that you remember the story of the pink phone. Pick it up, but make an appointment, meet face to face as often as you can.